Hey, what's up? And welcome into Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. Thanks so much for downloading the podcast and checking me out on YouTube. YouTube.com. Look for Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment to everything we do on Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood, presented by the fine folks over at Ankin Law, 312-6 million. Our next guest knows exactly who Howard is. He's on those commercials. Howard Ankin, 312-6 million. For the great Howard Ankin, sign my ball. We turn to Simeon's finest. We turn to Mr. Illinois basketball. Is Chicago's own and Illinois color analyst on the radio side. It's Deon Thomas with us here on Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. Coach, as always, appreciate the time.
Jay Hood, it's a pleasure, man. I always enjoy coming on with you. Thanks for having me again.
He does games with Brian Barnhart. How you like that, Deon? How you like that? The Illini win. So he got right.
That's a pretty good impersonation there, Jay.
I've been hearing it for years. You and Brian doing the game. How do you like that, Deon? But the Illini with a very good season so far. I want to reach out to you on a number of levels regarding the Illini, but what are your overall thoughts about the season thus far?
Of course, this last couple of games have been a little down, dealing with some injuries. With Kylan Boswell being out, the last game had Stojakovic out, so put a lot of weight on younger players to play well. And Keaton Wagler has done that. David Merkovic has done that. They've really stepped up and they've shown out that, just because you're a freshman don't mean you can't get in there and do your thing. And then, of course, Thomas Lavicevic and his brother Zvonimir have been tremendous for this team on the interior. My two MVPs will probably be Jake Davis and Ben Hummerkaus, because those are the guys that do the dirty work, that does not get the press, that no one really knows about, or pays attention to. So overall, I think this has been a very successful season. The games that they've lost against some of the best teams in the country. The Michigan States, Nebraskas, and then of course, now they have to deal with the injury bug. And once they get past that injury bug, Jay Hood, I think this team, has national championship possibilities in them. That's how good they are offensively. And when they have all of their pieces defensively, they're lights out.
Okay, so Michigan State and Wisconsin back-to-back games, couple of losses, but I have been hearing from Coach Underwood. I know he's frustrated, but Deon, he's got to be able to just keep the rig on the road. When he talks about how many clips he sent into the league, and I said, hey, man, you just don't want to have your reputation. It's been a good season, but what I was saying on the radio with Cap, I said, listen, Illinois is above, questionable officiating because they have the talent. Everywhere I go, every barbershop downtown, Illinois could be a Final Four team. They could be an Elite Eight team because people really like this team, the makeup of the team. I just want to know from your standpoint whether you feel like officiating has played a role in the last couple of games. It always does, but Underwood was really pissed after that last game against Wisconsin.
Well, let's start with the Michigan State game. So that night I wasn't on the radio. Doug was on. So I really had an opportunity to watch the game as a fan. And I can say I take my hat off to Coach Izzo. We all know what he does, how his teams play, but we also know how well he works the refs, and he's a master at it. But there was some calls during that game that were missed. I'm going to try to give the referees the benefit of the doubt. I'm not going to say someone's cheating or this or that, but there were some calls that were missed that were big. The Jeremy Fears deal, which, has been in the topic, has been voiced over. As I was watching that game, and I know him, I know his dad, I know his mom, I know his brother. So it kind of pains me I shouldn't say I know them. We've met.
Sure.
But it pains me because I think he is so talented. I think he is one of the best point guards in the country, hands down, no problem. But some of these things that he's been doing is he shouldn't be doing. I think it diminishes who he is and how good he is. One of the calls that Coach was really upset about was the trip on David Merkovic. Now the referee said that it was wasn't intentional. But anytime you look over your shoulder and you see somebody running down the court and you do what happened, I tend to think that's intentional.
Yeah.
And for referees to not make that call, I mean, and there were a few others that were really big. Now, does Illinois hold responsibility in that? Yes. I mean, you had the lead. You have an opportunity to secure the offense, the defensive rebound. You don't get it. Michigan State hits a three. Now they go up and you're in a different situation. Fast forward to the Wisconsin game. Were there some missed calls in the Wisconsin game? Now I'm on the radio, so I'm sitting right there courtside.
Mm-hmm.
Watch how Keaton Wagler is getting beat, really pounded up on. And I made the comment to Brian Barnhart that, these guys watched the Michigan State tape. So they're going to play them physical. They're going to hit them. They're going to push them. And I understand referees trying not to influence games, but in your intent to not influence games and you're actually influencing the game, and that, those were some of the things that I think, yeah. So I agree with him on having to cut those clips because you have to do that in order to be able to protect your program, protect your players. So that's his job to do so. But at the same time, I have to be a little critical because we have allowed those teams to come back and beat us. If you look at any of our losses this year, really the only loss where I can say a team outplayed us and beat us down was UConn.
Mm-hmm.
The others, we'll play 20 minutes here or we'll have some mishaps down the road, and we've ended up kind of giving games away. But I do understand, again, what Coach is doing, why he's doing it, because there has been an escalation of really physical play, especially with Keaton Wagler. And, I've been there, Jay Hood. I tell people all the time about Mike Poplawski. When he played at Michigan State, I was like, Mike's only job was to come in the game and beat on me.
Yeah.
That was his job.
Right.
AC Earl over at Iowa, his job was to beat on me. So when you're that guy, you're going to get that attention. And, we in this day and age now that basketball is free flowing and free moving, and you're supposed to allow guys to make these cuts. This is why those referees need to make those calls, because that's the style of play today. I mean, back in my day, I'm not complaining about any of those fouls.
Right.
But, in today's, by today's rules and standards, these are the calls that are supposed to be made.
Yeah, I want to talk to you about Wagler. We just talked about his game. What do you like most about what you saw? Because that last game against Wisconsin, okay, it's not the Michigan State game, but Wisconsin, I thought he rallied and really battled offensively.
He did. And it's the one thing that this young man has shown all year is composure. I mean, he does not get sped up, with the exception, I'll say, of the Michigan State game. Yeah. And that was the only game that I really saw him, uncharacteristically taking some shots, forcing some shots, and things that I had not seen him do all year, all season. But he's special. He's special because he plays like an adult at 18, 19 years old. He has the ability, and we all knew he could shoot the basketball, but to be able to make the plays and the right plays consistently time and time again. How often do you see, a coach in a Power 4 program hand over the keys to a freshman? Mm-hmm. How often do you see a player of Kylan Boswell's caliber, leadership, and all those things say, okay, this is the guy right here, and we'll do these things together. They has shown that this young man is wise, but something beyond his years. I use an expression, and you've heard this, Jay Hood. He's an old soul.
Yeah.
And that's how he plays. He plays well above his age. And he's a special, special player. I mean, we've had some guys come in as freshmen and break my freshman scoring record, many, since Keon Garris and others. Yeah. This kid's going to shatter it. And he's going to shatter it because of all of the things he can do. I mean, he scores from all four positions on the floor. And for those that don't know what I mean by all four, he scores from the three. mid-range. He can get to the basket and finish. And then he's almost 90%, over 85% from the free throw line. And he makes great decisions with the basketball. Again, last two games are anomalies to me, where he had five turnovers in Wisconsin game, and I think he had 4 or 5 against Michigan State. That doesn't happen. I mean, this kid normally has 7, 8 assists and no turnovers. So it just goes to show that he's there, and there's still a lot more room for him to grow.
I want to talk to you about Humrick House. Watched him at Evansville for that 1 year. He was with the Purple Aces, covering the UIC Flames, and watched him. I said, boy, it's interesting, the portal and how there's a step up in class. I mean, the Valley's tough, as you well know, but then you get to Illinois, and I said, well, I was looking forward to seeing what he looks like. And it's a big step up in class for him, but he's hit big shots by being an Illini. What do you like about Humrick House? Because he was all world in Evansville.
Well, one of the things I like about him, as you mentioned, he was all world at Evansville.
Mm-hmm.
Be able to understand that you have to take a step back and become a role player is really difficult for a lot of people. Very, very difficult. And I think Ben has done that and has done it in a tremendous way. Last season, and Brad has made many jokes about this, on the interior, I thought Ben did a good job of walling up, and doing things defensively. Now he's defending on the exterior. I mean, we can go back and look at that Michigan State game. I mean, Jeremy Fears had his way with the Illinois guards.
Yeah.
Who didn't he have his way with? The 6'9" guy that shouldn't be out there defending somebody as quick as Fears. He could not get past Ben Humrick House.
Mm-hmm.
And that just is a testament to the work that this young man has put in on his defense. He is still a big shot maker. Everyone knows he can shoot the ball, and he is, as coach calls him, a gravity guy, because you can't leave him because he shoots the ball so well. But what he has done defensively and what he continues to do on the glass, he's that ultimate glue guy. You don't win championships without players like him and Jake Davis.
What are your thoughts on the state of the Big Ten? I've been trying to look at these standings. I don't know what the committee's going to come up with, but I see 9, 10 teams that should be able to be in the NCAA tournament. What do you think of the ebb and flow of the Big Ten so far this season?
Well, I'm going to say this, Jay Hood. That ain't nothing different for me.
Yeah.
I mean, the Big Ten has been, to me, this type of conference where you could easily put in 7, 8, 9, 10 teams since I played 30 some odd years ago. It's always a high quality programs. You have some of the absolute best coaches in the country in this conference, and they know one another. And we look at it from the football side, you look at it from the basketball side. What's the first thing they say? Well, they're going to start cannibalizing themselves in the Big Ten. And that's because from top to bottom, in my opinion, this is one of the top, if not the top conference every year in college basketball. So 10 teams wouldn't surprise me. I mean, I know the SEC got 12 last year.
Yeah.
I think it was 12. I had to turn my nose up a little bit at that. I'm like, oh, I was like, I don't know about that. And then the first week was like, okay, yeah, because there's 4 that are gone right now. When you should have had, Indiana in last year, there were a couple other teams that I thought that should have been in the NCAA tournament. So not surprised that there may be 10 teams. This conference is deep. It always is. Anybody can beat anybody on any given day. You go and you look at Michigan's only loss, it was to Wisconsin. And what did Wisconsin do? They came in the house and they put foot to our butts as well.
Yeah.
So, and they're in the middle of the pack, so when you have that type of depth, if you look at the Ken Palm rating, you got all of the teams that are, the top of the middle, top of the Big Ten, they're all high in the Ken Palm rating. So not a surprise. Looking forward to see how this continues to pan out because there's still a lot of games left.
Okay, Coach, I think we need to be able to come to an understanding on the sidelines. I keep going through the news. I think we're past the COVID era, so coaches don't necessarily have to wear casual wear. And I'm watching who was on last night. It was Iowa, Maryland. As you know, Buzz Williams is going to be suited and booted, right?
Always.
I mean, full suit, like vest, and like the best tie and the best shirt and the best shoes, right? The jacket comes off in the second half when it always gets a little itchy. But the point is, though, he comes suited. Okay, we're gonna have to come back to either go to the suits or the sweatsuits. Now, which one is best? It's 2026 now. We just can't have one set of coaches that's in sweatshirts or just like sweatsuits, and then another one that's suited and booted in all suits and ties. So, where do you stand on the coach's attire, sir?
Well, let me say this. I don't think there should be any coaches walking up and down the sideline in a sweatsuit. And
Okay.
to be quite honest, if I'm coaching, my players are not even in sweatsuits. Yeah, especially in the day of you can go out and get and I hate to be pubbing any other brand, but you can go get you some nice Lulus or something like that, and
Mhm.
and a 3/4 zip with your school logo on it.
Right.
That to me is the bare minimum. We call that in the development world, especially at the University of Illinois, we call that Illini casual. You know, you got
Yes.
your polo on, or you got your 3/4 zip on. I think that's the bare minimum of where this should be. Not all coaches, including myself, even though I had to wear them when I was at UIC,
Yes.
not real fond of suits.
Yes.
They're getting up, they're sitting up, standing down. You're moving a lot, and some suits just aren't as forgiving as it would be to have on a nice pair of slacks and a quarter zip shirt or polo. So that's where I pretty much fall. I like the business casual look of it.
Yes.
But I'm not knocking anyone if they want to be like Buzz, because like you said, Buzz is dressed.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Dressed to
Pocket watch, top notch watch,
yeah.
it's just like, and I was like, hey man, I said, I mean, that's great, but he's sweating through it, man. All
And
of
that's why that jacket comes off.
it.
So meet in the middle, business casual, and you got it all cooked.
UIC with Rob Eason, the coaching staff is in golf shirts for the most part. So they're uniform, but it's very casual in the Rob Eason era of UIC.
Yeah. Well, I've enjoyed watching them this year. Contrary to what anyone may think, I grew up walking across, what was called Circle Campus at the time as a kid, and I still follow UIC, and I like what he is doing and has done over there. So I wish them continued success. But yeah, I'd still like to see, a little uniformity as you.
Yes.
They got the polos on with the slacks. I can do that.
Speaking of UIC or teams like UIC, Coach, I think it's very interesting what has happened here with the portal and just the way that you play the game. As a head coach, you have a certain way that you like to play offense, defense, because this is your master plan. This is your blueprint. This is what makes us a program. From one year to the other, last year and the first year of Rob Eason, prolific scoring teams had 6, 7 guys that could be able to shoot the three, shot at a high clip, broke a lot of records shooting the basketball. You had the portal, a number of players leave, you come back, and then you look at your roster and said, okay, so we got to play back to the basketball. We got to get into the lane. It is interesting, and it's not just UIC, but a number of programs that have to be able to change kind of the way they play the game based on the personnel. I'm calling Flames games where there's a lot of paint touches and getting to the foul line and slowing the game down versus trying to shoot a bunch of threes. This is a commonplace for a lot of teams, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean that's the day and age of today of college sports today. And to be honest, I am not against it. I think the players should have the freedom to better themselves and better their situations. I will say that I have to be honest. I wish there was some guardrails on it, but I want the kids to have the flexibility. So I don't. I wish there was more loyalty as it used to be when I played in the business. However, as a JUCO coach for 5 years, this is what you get used to. This is where your coaching ability really comes in because, like you said, you have to adjust. So either you have to adjust to the personnel that you have, or you have to go out and find the personnel that you need. Illinois, for example, I think Brad does a great job of using the portal to build his teams and build them quickly, while at the same time recruiting, freshmen and other players that you can bring in. I mean, Keaton, no one knew about Keaton. Keaton was a steal, but he still brought in Brandon Lee, and guys like that, where you still have a young component, but you want to be good by bringing in older players. So one of the things you can do is hit the JUCO market, find those players that fit what it is that you do. I mean, you want to shoot 3-point shots. I mean, you go out and you find 3-point shooters where they're at the NAIA level, the D2 level. Now, what that is, that's a heck of a lot more work for the coaches, but they have so many more tools at their discretion as opposed to when I played, where they could gather that type of information. Or you do what Coach did and what Wood has done, and you adjust to what you have on the fly. And I think that's a mark of great coaching. If you can do that and you can morph, and you don't just stick to this is what I am and this is all that I'm going to do, because great players make great coaches, but great coaches can adjust when they don't have that type of talent. And I think he's like you said, 3-point shots last year. Now to driving the ball and getting paint touches this year. That shows the caliber of his coaching, and that he's able to adjust in that. So, and I think that's what most of the, let's say, mid majors are going to have to do, because it's not going to change anytime soon, I don't believe. So if these players feel that they have a better situation somewhere else, they're going to be up and ready to go. But this is also where I think coach and player relationships have to be open and honest, and that coaches don't take, hey, coach, you know what? I think Marquette is probably a better spot for me, gives me and my family a better opportunity. Okay, well, let's do what we got to do to help make sure that you are able to move on. I mean, it's kind of like a farm system if you look at it.
Yeah.
If you have to partner with some Power 4 teams and say, hey, you're not going to get this kid. How about you send him here for a year and then he go to you? Or why don't you go and find a kid and then say, hey, coach, I got a kid that I think will fit perfectly for you, and you work in collaboration with someone. So there are ways around it. But this is definitely a hard truth for mid-major and lower programs that they got to have to figure it out, man, because it's going to keep changing.
And speaking of NIL and the portal, have you had the inflation calculator to find out how much you would have made if a young Deon Thomas would have come through in this era? How much money you making?
Well, I tell you this, I've made a lot more than I'm making right now, Jay.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Well, I will say this. I think I might be doing something different if I had to. Law school would have been right there in my face, man.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll take it. I'm happy for these kids, man. But yeah, Jay, I've had that question proposed to me many a time, and that's always my answer. I'd be making more than what I'm making now.
Simeon, Mr. Illinois basketball, NBA. I think you'd be doing really well. Really, really well.
Would not be complaining, brother.
And possibly all in Illinois, right? I mean, because there's a lot of teams that were tugging at you, trying to get you to go to their college, but you went to Illinois. So
both coasts. I mean, Georgetown was right there. UCLA was right there. Arizona was right there. So there were, I mean, I was number 3 player in the nation. So there were a lot of suitors, but I couldn't leave grandma, so kept me close.
No, that's all good. Makes sense to me. I'll work on that number for you. I'll send it to you. What that number could have been.
I would love to see what it would be.
Your points, your dominance on the floor, and then you put that dollar amount to that. Yeah, that's priceless.
No complaints. It may bring forth a few tears since I'm not getting it, but
understood. And I'm glad we were able to catch up. I'm just interested in the Illini story. I think a lot of people in the Chicagoland. We took calls the other day about the Illini. People talking about the Wisconsin game, obviously talking about the officials, and talking about the Orange Crush. We had some people calling in on the show with Cap and I talking about the Orange Crush. They say, hey, man. There's going to be ebbs and flows in games. Yeah. And you as a college player, as a coach, know how important the crowd is. Mm-hmm. Man, root when you're losing too and when you're winning. Keep the vibe up. And so we had some callers from Springfield that called in and that went to the game. They want the vibe to be high at State Farm as much as possible.
Well, it has to be. I mean, if
Yeah.
I think the Orange Crush is amazing. They
Mhm.
were started by Coach Henson way back in the 70s. He got together with the student groups and started the Orange Crush. It felt like in its infancy when I was playing. The atmosphere currently in the State Farm Center is awesome. I mean, it's 15,000 and to the roof every game. And for the most part, I think the Crush is awesome, and I think they do a great job.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things when you look at and you talk to people and they're comparing these student-led groups, the Crush doesn't normally get mentioned. They mention Duke. I don't know if you've ever seen a game for the school in Arizona.
Grand Canyon.
Grand Canyon.
I got a story about that. So we go in there. UIC plays Grand Canyon, and so this is your buddy, your old Steve McLean,
yes.
and they rolled the woofers right up to the baseline, right next to our bench. Can't hear anything. The crowd's up, and they're old and like from age 10 to 80. They're up and making all this noise, and this crowd. They got the woofer speakers moved in. You can't hear yourself think. It's such an unbelievable advantage in Arizona.
It is totally awesome. But and it's something I just mentioned, and this is where I think people want to say the Crush and how they sometimes get down, get up. You just mentioned 8 to 80. That Grand they're up. I posted something when we played Purdue in West Lafayette. 8 to 80. Those people are up dancing, cheering, doing all of those things. That's one of those areas where we can also get better. Our older or more seasoned, I mean, whether you're my age or you older, you can get a little bit more involved instead of just when things are going well. And so I think that's where we may fall behind a little bit. So I don't disagree with the callers when they're saying that, because I would love to have an atmosphere similar to those. But I also am not going to beat down on the Orange Crush, because I think they do a tremendous job. Did you see my post with my Jake Davis wig?
Yes, I did.
Orange Crush. I mean, not quite my color, but
right.
And this is what they do. So the Crush gets up, they get loud, they do get busy, but I would love to see everyone join in that same.
And I'm glad you spent some time, man. Continued success, and looking forward to March Madness right around the corner.
Yes, sir. Be well. Keep doing a great job, Jay. I enjoy your show. I enjoy the with you and Cap in the morning. I enjoy Under the Hood. Keep doing your thing, brother. I'm very, very proud of you, and very proud to be a friend of yours.
Coach, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right, brother. Be well.
Great to hear from Deon Thomas, my friend from the Illini Sports Network, and one of the greatest to ever play in the city of Chicago and the state of Illinois, for everything he did for Simeon and, of course, the Fighting Illini, as we are presented by Incan Law, 3126 million for the great Howard Incan. Put that number in your phone, because injury law made personal. That is Incan Law. Hey, we've got some thoughts about the NBA All-Star Weekend that I was able to record. We've got some LA versus space, talking about some of the things that's going around in the world of sports. We got so much. So check out the playlists, and also check out some of the past episodes that we've had for Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment to everything we talked about with Deon Thomas and more right here on Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. Thanks so much for checking us out. So long, everybody, from Chicago.